He went from sounding like a 8-year-old kid to sounding like a 35-year-old man in like a span of 3 weeks.
When I started this, it's funny because I actually sent Suno an email because I knew there would be backlash, and I sent them an email saying, hey, so this is ruining the music industry and the environment and everything. So I'm just wondering if you could please shut down your company.
When you release a song, it's an AI voice, but you perform it live, obviously, with your own voice. Why the decision to release it AI versus you?
Can we be frank? Can we be frank? Can we be frank? Can we be frank? Can we be frank?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Can We Be Frank, where the whiskey may be on ice, but the talk is always straight up. Today, it's a very special episode, our first guest of Season 2. I want to introduce everybody to Drü. Drü, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. Well, thanks so much for having me on your guys' podcast. It's actually my very first podcast that I've ever done, which is pretty crazy because when I started in audio, I actually started because I wanted to do a podcast, but I never did. So I am a musician, an AI human hybrid musician out in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. And I have been doing music since 2019 in production and developing artists. I have an extensive background in development in artistry for artists, and now I just kind of do my own thing. I'm trying to become a TikTok creator.
Very cool. And Mike, that's how you got connected with Drü, right?
Yeah. I discovered Drü through a talent show through some of my favorite AI video jump scare creators. They were throwing a talent show, and Drü was a part of it. And I hate to say this because I think, everybody's out there, but like the talent show had over 300 and something, and a lot of them, are great, talented in their own way. But I think Drü absolutely stood out amongst the crowd of those people as a much higher, better quality. I knew what she had. I reached out to her immediately. It was like, this is amazing. You're so good. And have known her now for a couple of months, I think, Drü. So it's been great.
Which is crazy because I didn't even know why I was on that show. I didn't even know how I got there. I just somebody sent me a link and said, you should do this. And I said, I don't even know what this is. I'd been on TikTok for like a month, and I just like sent it. And I remember there was like the beginning of the Mr. Do It All competition was like, you had to just a cappella sing. So I was just like in my dining room. It just like popped on my screen. I was like, oh, sing. And I was like, all right. I don't even think I sang the words right. Like I just
that dining room acoustic just doing you all the favors. I love it. Yeah, it's so cool. When Mike and I saw each other a few weeks ago, and he was showing me the talent competition, and it blew my mind. I have never had TikTok, as I mentioned before, but just seeing people be able to come in and showcase their talent. There was a magician as well, Mike, I think in the one that you showed me. And it's obviously live. It's a global thing. He was up at God knows what time from somewhere in Europe, I think maybe the UK. It was really cool. How much exposure, Drü, did that get you? I mean, obviously people like Mike found you and learned about you through that.
Yeah, actually, that was also really crazy. Is like because I didn't know what it was. I didn't really understand what was going on, and I said to to Mr. Dual, was like, thank you so much for putting this on, because winning the prize is actually not the best part about that competition. It was the exposure. After after a 3-minute song, I would get off the live stream and I would have roughly around an extra 180 to 100 new followers. Yeah. So like the exposure levels are like super high. And it's really cool how how learning about TikTok and how it's a community has been probably one of the most interesting parts of like joining TikTok. Like I never knew, like just kind of like you, I was never really on TikTok, so I never understood why people are even on there, what they're doing or what it's about. But like even like Mike going on there and being in the back seat, you know what I mean? Not on the screen, but watching. It's like, it's really cool that people put their time into supporting communities like that, like a community artist, all those kind of things. And I just didn't know how many people actually would do something like that. It's crazy.
It's awesome. It gives you an audience, right? We've been talking about this on a couple of other episodes. The access to people through social media is so instant and like expanded of who could be on at any point in time. That's really cool.
Now for the Gen Xers on the podcast here, can you explain what an AI hybrid
I was going to
musician
ask the
is?
same thing.
Yeah.
And maybe for the millennials as well. Right.
I don't know if
I
anyone's
wanna
actually
learn.
doing it or I just made it up myself.
I like it.
Even more, even
Sounds
better.
very futuristic.
Yeah, I think I might have made that term up myself, but I feel like that's kind of like the best way to describe what I'm doing, which is like essentially I'm using AI music as like my, what I promote and what I put into streaming. And then what I do is I perform it live. So I am a singer, a music producer. So I essentially write the songs through AI. I use an AI voice, all the instrumentation's AI. And then I actually redo a lot of the, I'll actually I'll put the AI song back into AI and make a cover of it. And then I have a backtrack for it so that I can perform it live.
What does that process look like? The AI, I'm so curious. Like, how does it start? What type of tools do you use?
Suno AI
Yeah,
or?
I use Suno. And sometimes I use like some ChatGPT as well to like master it and everything like that. So, or I'll master it myself. So I also will do like some different things, like because I am a producer, so I can take all the stems, put them into my DAW, which I use Ableton, and then I can kind of add what I want to or take away whatever I want to. Kind of depends on that. So it's kind of like reverse engineering, I guess, is what I would think of it compared to like, the traditional way of making music. So, what I do is I upload the lyrics into Suno, and once the lyrics come out, it gives me like a melody, right? And then I can kind of hear, where I want to go with the lyrics and like what's kind of like what cadences are working, what cadences are not. And then I can write kind of to that, which is super helpful, to be honest, because like you're like, I can hear the melody lines. Sometimes, even though I do that as well, I'll also sometimes get a melody from my own brain, and then I'll go into my DAW, and then I'll record it, and I will take my audio, and then I will put it into the AI, in which it will spit it back out and create a new voice, but it will keep my same melodies that I've created as well. So there's like lots of different techniques and different things that I do to use it. But it saves me so much time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is really great, because my main focus is being able to like do community building and work, like, hang out with people, and I don't want to be like studio time takes so much time. So this gives me a lot more.
Now, what's interesting, so you said you release it, when you release the song, it's an AI voice, but you perform it live, obviously, with your own voice. Why the decision to release it AI versus you? Because clearly, if you're doing live talent shows in your living room, you can sing. Like, what's the thought process behind that?
Yeah. So my thought process was, digital music should stay in digital world, is what I kind of came up with as my theory, because, a lot of people right now, like, especially like when I was doing like managing artists, they had such a hard time getting exposure, having a place to go play, like people showing up to the shows. That was actually the hardest thing, is getting somebody to go to a show, so my leverage that I thought I had, by keeping it AI and digital in the digital world, was saying, hey, if you want to hear what I sound like, come to reality.
Come see me live.
Come to reality.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, here's the virtual. Here's
great.
the virtual world, and then here's the actual reality of it. Is you mentioned about uploading lyrics? Do you write the lyrics? Like, how much of that is your creativity and your production, and then how much of it do you use to feed into the AI? Because I think this is a big topic with AI in any type of creative form. Of you need to have a creative brain to raise the right prompts or ask the right questions. But how much of that applies to what you do?
Yeah, so yes, I do write my own lyrics, and they are stories from my life and or from situations. I am very like particular in how I write. I like to write for like I've always had this saying that when you go to your favorite concert and you're with your friend and your favorite song comes on and you look at them, you go, this is my song, right? So I always write in the sense of like I know that this is something I'm giving away. So that's definitely something that I think about during my writing process. And as for prompts, there's all sorts of different, like for instance, there's different techniques that I use. Like one of my songs I actually I did it's called Halfway Love, and actually How Do You Heal as well, which actually started as a male vocal R&B track, in which then I reprocessed through AI again. Like that was created by AI, which I reprocessed again, reprompted to be a female country song as well. So there's different ways that you can take AI to be creative, where you're just kind of like, it was a great song as an R&B song, but for what I was doing and for me to be able to use that for what I'm doing, I'm doing a country kind of vibe, so I actually had to like reprompt it, use some of the like what I liked of it. I liked the cadences, and it turned out really good. Like it was crazy to see how I could transfer, totally different genres to a different genre.
Yeah. And I guess that's the power of the AI. And like you're saying, I think what's interesting, and this is something, Derek, right, we were going to discuss as a topic in general, is kind of, well, what was the exact thing? And then I'll follow up with my question.
So that actually leads really well into our prescribed topic for the day, which we generally try and come up with, is a little bit about, AI and separating hype from reality. What can AI actually do? And where does human creativity come into play and going to continue to come into play? Because, we're not in Skynet. It's not going to take over, not yet that I know of, at least. But a little bit about like what it can do and where human creativity plays into that and why people are scared of it and what people can do to get over that fear.
I want to jump in with something that specific things just made me think of based off of what Drü said. The idea of taking another song or another artist's output and throwing it into AI, like the new Spotify rule that's come out that says if you publish songs and music on our platform as an artist, regardless of if you've done it from scratch or if it's an AI production, that's now available for someone to utilize without credit. I wanted to throw that out there off the back of it. There's a creation of it, but then there's also the ethical, moral part. I'd love to get everyone's thoughts on that as part of this. Like there's a can you, and then there's a should you. Just be interesting to know what you guys think about
that. Well, first and foremost, a lot of people say, that, these AIs are being trained by music. First of all, it's a computer and it's numbers, right? And what is sound? Sound is a frequency. You know what I mean? So like, could the computer already just come up with it on its own as a mathematical equation? Probably, you know what I mean? Like there's only so many like keys, like notes, you know what I mean? So could it come up with its own infrastructure anyways? Of course. And could it like run its own, like it's a computer, you know what I mean? Like they could do some pretty crazy things. I think that some of the things that big AI companies can do to alleviate some of the people getting upset because they think that they're getting their music stolen is sponsor more artists who are using such as not for myself, but some artist space in the real world. So giving artists space in the real world, such as putting on festivals or stuff like that they can actually go and perform. Artists never want to be on the internet anyways. They want to be they want to be on a stage. That's in reality,
Right. So it's about exposure, and Yeah, I think it's so interesting because and I don't know if you find this, Drew, but what I'm hearing, at least on the entertainment side of things, and I don't know if it's the same on the music side, is there's kind of two camps, it seems. There's the camp that is, AI is evil, don't use it. It's, all human all the time. And then there's the camp that's all in and like, I'd less time in the studio. It allows me to be more creative. It's a tool. It's like from, as a writer's point of view, saying like, hey, only typewriters, or you can even go further, like, hey, only pen and paper. These damn typewriters, they're taking over, or Final Draft. It's an evolution of the product. I know that my daughter, who's in film school, she's 23, and her friends, that particular group, they'll put on their film, no AI was used in this. And I'm kind of surprised because that would seem like the generation, that Gen Z generation, that would be, you would think would embrace, but they're kind of pushing back. So I'm wondering if in music, are there kind of camps that are similar?
Oh, definitely.
There
Yeah.
are.
Well, and it's not just in like music or arts, it's also in environmental. Like there's a lot of environmental issues when it comes to AI that we do have to, recognize. And I definitely don't, I don't sit here thinking that AI is the best tool in the world, or it doesn't come with any problems. I think it comes with a lot of problems, actually. I think that's what
Mm.
makes me want to do this, is that there are a lot of problems with AI use and ethical use, and using my platform to be able to educate and showcase to people, mostly showcase, because saying something, that's what I always say to people when I get those keyboard warriors who come in and say, AI slop. It's like,
Right.
is that really the best you could be doing to fight your cause, is coming to me and telling me how, like, one person who really, like, what am I going to do? And so I just, like, for me, I want to be able to showcase that you can create good opportunities using AI music, and that we can lobby for things, like hopefully get an influence so that we could go to like Suno and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't let people upload like 10,000 songs a day. Maybe we should have some like difference in pay structures for streams for people who are spending $4,000 to get their records cut, compared to like the $100 for the Suno AI. Maybe we should have sponsored events, like those kind of things. And yes, maybe we should also really watch, like, I was thinking about this today where like, I mean, you guys have the U.S. Army, and you guys know that, like, they have technology, and like, you guys can't just like access, like, nobody could just go access the United States Army's like technology, right? Because it's like advanced, and you need to have like all these like certifications and stuff like that. I think that like AI being something that's just at the palm of anybody's hands is kind of irresponsible. That's where we're getting, people putting their cats in hats, and that's a big thing on the internet. And that
I think that's irresponsible, Drew. Put your cat in a hat.
I mean, if you think
It's crossed the red line.
Unfaithful fruit. Come on.
I've also heard there's a film coming out soon that's going to be encouraging cats in hats. So let's get ready for that.
I mean, if you're talking about Mother Nature and Earth, you know what I mean? I guess probably. If we're talking about I mean, you guys are in LA. How's your water?
Yes, interesting. And I don't know a lot about the subject, but I do see that that's a major concern, right? Is the water consumption. And then from what I understand, it's the people in the neighborhoods are like, there's this deafening hum that you're kind of subjected to 24/7. So.
Yeah, the hum. I mean, we don't also know what kind of like other causes it, I mean, but the thing is, though, it's not just AI. It's Bitcoin. Right. It's all sorts of different issues. So like for people to come and say, "Oh, it's just AI," it's not just AI. It's the cell phones that they're texting on as well to say you're AI flop. Yes. So it's like, what are you really fighting? You're fighting and what are you going to really do when you're talking? Like when I started this, it's funny because I actually sent Suno an email. Because I knew there would be backlash, and I sent them an email saying, hey, so this is ruining the music industry and the environment and everything. So I'm just wondering if you could please shut down your company.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
And,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back up. This is before you were using it?
Yeah. Well, not because I liked using AI. I liked what I was doing, but I just thought, you know what? How can I go and tell people that they're not going to be shutting it down if I didn't try to at least try and shut it down?
So I understand. So you're willing to sacrifice the convenience, but if they're not going to heed your orders or your requests, then
well, I mean, they are worth
what
a
are you
couple
going to
$1
do?
billion. So I mean, I thought the battle. I mean,
You never know. Stranger things have happened.
I thought worth a shot. I mean, you can't know if you don't try.
This is true. Now, did they respond? I'm curious now.
They did
Oh,
actually.
they did. They're like, thank you for your concern. Hell no.
Yeah, pretty much
like
More
that.
tokens.
It was like, well, we understand your concern, but let me tell you how we're going to make things better. And I was like, all right, well, at least I tried.
That's true. That's
At
true.
least you got a reply as well. That's interesting.
It was probably from AI.
Yeah.
Probably will.
They've got an agent. They've got an agent that's just like, keep the people happy. Tell them what they want to hear.
But it's also important because it's important when people make statements like that. It keeps them on their toes to know that, okay, fine, maybe they believe that this is for the better, but we need to keep in mind what we're doing. It's kind of like understanding that the more houses we build, the more trees you're killing in our forests. So do we need to plant more forests? What can we do to counteract that? If they really believe this is important and a benefit to society, they need to understand where the downsides are and work hard to counteract those. We need to plant more, using my loose analogy of lumber and whatnot. We need to plant more trees. We need to at least be aware of it so that we're not being careless with what we do. So letting them know that keeps them from just forgetting, the downsides to it.
And another interesting point there, I think, is that I read the other day was, I think we can use AI to help us figure out how to solve that problem, right? Like, it's going to help solve that problem faster. So to me, it's like, hey, we have this tool. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I think we can all agree on that. It's just part of how we're going to go forward. How do we use it for good? And, I think that's one way we can use it for good. Like, what are the solutions? How can we figure out the environmental impact, if that's what we're going to talk about? Like, what are some of the solves that we can do there, and how can we leverage AI to then execute against those things? I think it'll just help with that solve.
It's like, help me help you. AI.
Exactly.
And I actually I joke, but I do like the fact that you're a consumer. That's almost interesting because, like I said, you either had the do camps, which is, down with AI, shut it all down, and the other people know we're all in. I think it's interesting that as a consumer, like, hey, listen, I like your product. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying it doesn't have things that are worthy of people using. Here are my concerns, and perhaps they would have more of an open ear if they know you're not just anti because you're anti-tech or you're anti-AI. You use the product, you like the product, but here's my concerns.
I feel like that's where that hybrid term that you've claimed as your brand is actually a very good, it's a mental mindset mentality as well, of like, I'm hybrid between knowing that this irresponsibly is used, if used irresponsibly, is not a great thing, but actually on the flip side, here's what it can do to enhance what I do. There's such a key message there around, to your point, Mike, of it's not going away. How do we evolve with it? How do we evolve with it ethically and morally? And there's no one I think most people that know they can't stand in front of a moving train, but how can we sort of set the track so it's going in the right direction? And I think this is where the whole new generation of people that seem to be very anti it are looking at it, knowing that it's very different and it's not necessarily like there's a perspective on it that isn't the same, that's shared between everyone. If AI is intelligent enough, maybe it has its own suggestions of how to fit into the world.
And I think that you
or
said
take over.
Or take over, and you never know. Listen, this is why we have to always say please and thank you to every AI agent.
Correct, which I
still
do.
do. I still do too.
I think that you said it right, is that it's just like almost everything else that we can find in this world. It's so left or right. It's an extreme pointed perspective. Like finding balance is something that humans just have a hard time with. Like if in everyday life, I think that's all I feel like probably all of us can agree that at every point in every day we're trying to find balance between, substances or, food and having, or, work
life. It's like classic balance, right?
Classic balance. And it's the hardest thing that we try to achieve. It's something that we're always working towards, but it's something that is so hard to see or to obtain. And it's kind of, you can see that happening in AI, that it's just like left or right, it's one or the other. But the thing is though, is that we know that neither one of those are good options either.
Right.
That's right. That's a great point.
I think this is really important. Two things can be true. And it maybe isn't at the cost of something else, but it can enhance and add to like a process, part of the creative process. Use it to help steer things along without it then having to take over and being an instead of. Right, both things can be true.
One of the things is I actually started out as a singer, as a karaoke singer. So
amazing.
Yeah, I love karaoke. Karaoke is my favorite thing. And so being somebody who does karaoke, I learn songs after they're made. So it's, for me, my learning process to music is always hearing it and then being able to replicate it. And then once I replicate it, I'm able to actually switch my melodies and do my own thing. I'm able to like tune into the song. And so even with my AI songs, I could sing them almost identically to what the AI puts out. But once I know it, I can switch the cadences myself and actually create new melodies from it as well, and create new, new riffs or whatever, new vocal stepping or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm not professionally trained in music. I'm just a karaoke girl, man. And so for me, it definitely enhances 100% my creativity, because it gives me the ability to hear, which is how I'm trained, is through my ears, not through, necessarily technical skills,
like reading notes on sheet music and things. My question is, so you never have released, or maybe you have, yourself singing live on TikTok? Is it so you reserve that mostly for or exclusively for live performances?
So I have put my live voice on there because obviously I wanted everybody to know that I can sing.
So proof, I see.
You know what I mean?
But I kind of love that. I say gimmick only because I can't find another word. But I like that approach. That hey, this is my TikTok. This is my music. Hey, if you want to hear me sing it, you got to come see me live. That's a fun. I like that because people love live performances, and it kind of leaves some mystery as to what you sound like, or can you sing, or can that's great.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I do is I have different backtracks for my live performances, and then the other time where I perform live via digital is through a live stream, so that you actually have to come interact with me, because I feel like that's
cool.
I feel like that is a fair interaction of digital use, because it's something that doesn't stay on the internet, and it's also I do have not everybody has access to going out, and I think that's what makes TikTok and social media so special, is that I think that as if you're an average person who does get to go outside and who does have a good freedom life, I think it's easy to forget how many people don't. A lot of my fans have disabilities, or they have children with disabilities, or they're in hospitals, or they're have financial struggles. There's a lot of different reasons to why people wouldn't be able to make it outside into the
right.
So,
or even just geography, right? If you have a fan that's in some other part of the world, they can,
or lives in the bush,
right.
Yeah, doesn't have a car, or
Yeah.
So
Drü, what was that experience like, building a community? Like, we've spoken before on the podcast about niches and sort of not targeted audiences intentionally, but having an audience that naturally gravitates towards you. What was that like, and how, or if did AI play a part in that for you?
A lot of people actually didn't really recognize that it was AI music for a long time. Actually, I still have people who go, "That's her voice," because they found me on live stream or something like that, and they just actually can't tell the difference. But I think that, like, when it comes to building a community, um, it's so crazy how much they care, about the things that you do. And being on this side of the screen is just so surreal, because it's like they look at you with such, like, wow, but then while I'm sitting here, I just go, wow, like, I can't believe that all these people are like, Mike and I actually were just with one of my fans. She set up a Discord for me, and she's modding the whole thing. And like, and it's like, you've taken time out of your day, and they're there, like, they're not there for like 5 minutes, like they're there when you stream for 3 hours, they're there for 3 hours with you. And they don't leave you lonely, and they talk to other people, and the dedication that people will put in is just, like, to me, mind-blowing, because I've never done it, and it gives you a different sense of respect, because when you're on this side of the screen, you're relying on that. You're relying on somebody to be there. Like, that's what you're doing this for, is for somebody to care,
Yeah.
somebody to connect it. And
We
when
don't get
somebody,
that, Drew.
yeah,
We don't know that feeling.
I know, it's beautiful. It's just,
I'm sure it is.
It's all
We
going
don't,
to
we don't have
change.
people hanging out for 3 hours with us.
Maybe we should do a 3-hour live and
Someday.
see who shows up.
One of these days, yes.
Well, hopefully Drew would show up, so we would have
Yeah.
one
I would
just out
definitely,
of sympathy. That's amazing, though. Yeah, to get that kind of love from, strangers, right? Until you get to know them. But just so in a typical live, so you go live. I'm going to show my ignorance here. Do you announce you're going live, or do you just go live and people are alerted and they find you?
I should announce that I'm going live, and I should have a schedule, but I don't.
Oh, but you don't, but they find you.
Yeah, they do. And so they, I think there's like kind of like a For You page for lives, from what I understand. I honestly I just started going into live streams, but I now only go into my fans' lives to go and like support them now. So I'll just be like,
nice.
ooh, they're live now. And so I'll go into there. But yeah, a lot of people, I think out of like my following, I think I've had almost 2,000 people follow me from my live streams alone. So it's a vast, like, that's a big portion.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Like, I don't know the difference compared to social, like, profile access, but 2,000 people is a lot of people.
But that's the thing. That's exactly it, Ruby, is I think we get lost in the numbers, right? You hear these numbers and they just become some, thing that you can't quite quantify. But when you really stop and think, like, imagine, 2,000 people in a line somewhere, or filling somewhere. That is a lot of people, So when I think numbers are tossed around and you just start to lose perspective. So that's great.
I think so one of the coolest things that I would say from my community that's happened is, it's so funny because I know them by usernames. So like, I know like Corky, which is crazy. That's not her name, but like, everybody has usernames. And, but anyways, Corky and Mel, they actually met in my live stream, and now they live stream almost daily together just to chit chat and hang out with each other.
That's so cool.
And then they bring in other people as well. But they do it on their own. And they actually, which is crazy, they found out they didn't know each other at all. And then through my live stream, they just kind of connected. And then they actually found out that they're going to, I think, Nova Scotia. And they're almost just bypassing each other. But I think there's one day that they're both at, like, in Halifax or whatever. So I think they might actually link up in real life. In Halifax, they're both going there for vacation, which is crazy because they're both.
Okay,
that's so
and how
cool.
surreal is that had not been for your live?
They
wouldn't be friends and meet up. Like, stuff like that's crazy.
Like, it's crazy the impact that you can have. And, like, that's the coolest part about doing social media for me. It's like, I don't care. Like, the music is one thing. I love the music. I love the music for me. At one point, when I'm writing my story, that's where my feelings are. You know what I mean? I get to put my feelings into the song. once the song is done and I release it, it's no longer mine. You know what I mean? I've released it for everybody else to put their feelings into it. And so that's no longer mine. And it's just sound. The cool part about releasing music, the cool part about creating music and art or anything like that is getting to see what it does, what kind of connection it brings, what kind of conversation it brings. And I think that people say to me all the time, AI music is not art. It's like, what is art then? Like, what is the definition of art? Because for as far as I'm concerned, AI is probably the best definition of art, which is to create conversation, right? To create connection to something, to create opinion. I think it's doing a fantastic job at being art.
Definitely a
That's a great
conversation
point.
starter. Yeah.
And it is a
So
medium. It's a medium, just like a piece of clay or a palette of paint, right? So we, as the creator, right? I mean, it's a tool that we can use to create with, which you're doing with AI hybrids. I love the term, and you should trademark it.
You should.
But I do think it's a thesaurus. It's a dictionary, obviously an advanced one, but you're still the creative mind behind the tool. Like
It definitely doesn't control my body.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're the ones that are giving it the input, the direction, the prompts, the.
You mentioned earlier, Drew, that you're using your brain, and you feed it based off of stuff from your brain, which I think is an interesting concept, because it's like having a partner to then sort of span off and bounce ideas off. I don't know if you use it in that way. It made me wonder, do you train any of the tools that you use based on your voice?
I have.
How,
Yes,
like, what was that process like? And then if someone else came in and wanted to use your voice and make a song and production from it, what would that experience be like for you?
I honestly, that'd be fine. Like I used to, like, even when we were, like, when I was doing like traditional producing, I had a lot of people, like my artists that I was working with, they did a lot of my instrumentals. We would share different instrumentals. Some would even write my lyrics, to be honest. Like, that's very common. That's not an unknown practice. And, so it's pretty much just actually a reliable person, AI. It's just like way more reliable than any human that I've ever met. So, they'll show up. AI is always there for you. It's hard, and don't get me wrong. There's no backlash in that. Life is busy. Life is expensive. There's a reason that people can't show up, but AI definitely can show up every single time. But training at the end of the day, like I said, it's just sound. Music is just the sound. The lyrics, the story behind it. Like when you get, and it's not even just my story. It's what stories the song can hold. You know what I mean? So like with Trucks Broke Down, like for me, it has a totally different story than what it has for a lot of my viewers. A lot of my viewers come to me and tell me a lot of crazy ass stories. I tell you about like what that song represents for them, which would never be what I would, that I pictured when I wrote the song. So to me, music is a space. And it is a frequency. It is the energy, that I think that it brings is from the people. So, and that's not something that AI can make.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's very true. And what I would love, I'm sorry, I just want to interject, Ruby, real quick. Anyone, for the listeners, like, leave your comments. I'm so curious what the people think. Yeah. Where you stand. Are you on the left or on the right? Are you like against? Are you for? Are you somewhere in the middle? Like, what are your opinions? Because they're so varied. This has been so interesting of a discussion. I think the way Drew's using it as a kind of a hybrid, as a tool, and kind of creating the human experience and using AI to help you create and reach people and create art. I think people just think, oh, either AI creates everything and we consume it, or it has to be all human all the time. And like you're saying, there's the balance, as if with everything.
Yeah,
I just want to say, leave us some comments. I'm curious.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody should chime in, because we're not going to move anything forward until we keep the discussion going about it and whatnot. And we shouldn't be so polar about things. My big experience with AI was a very good one. I worked on an animation where we used it as a tool to be able to take a child voice actor for the animation I was on. He went through puberty right in the middle of our season. So he went from sounding like a 8-year-old kid to sounding like a 35-year-old man in like a span of 3 weeks. And so they were in discussions to have to replace this kid, mid-season. We were like, we can't have our character sounding like he's, 35 years old. Instead, we actually went the AI route and were able to feed his lines. He recorded everything, 100%. He recorded. It was his emotion, his line reads, everything. And we just fed it through AI to bring it back down to match exactly what it was when he started recording with us. And it worked almost flawlessly. There were some things that worked a little weird, but it allowed, not only did it allow us to keep moving much quicker, it also allowed this kid to keep his job. Like, he didn't get replaced. He recorded the entire season, and we were able to utilize a new technology to get what we needed out of it. And, we kept the person employed. So I really like that experience, because that's a real, in my opinion, a great ethical example of this new technology. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely an industry thing, that this is happening in very big companies that are part of voice creation. And we got to think about the ethical side of it is, as long as somebody's happy to get paid for their voice to be used, and like with you, Drü, you're feeding your voice in, you're like, yeah, great, use it. That is an exchange of acceptance, and everyone's signed off on it. And I think that Drew's, Derek as well, with that example, is perfect, because it's mutually beneficial and everyone's signed up for it. Like, that's an example of it working really well. I have, based on what Robert said earlier about the big sort of statement on your daughter's piece of work that said, like, no AI was used in the creation of this content. And I wondered, Drü, with what you make, where you're hybrid, from an audience point of view, if you can't tell the difference, should the audience know? Is that something that's maybe different for music than from production or from animation? Derek, I don't know if you put anything around that for what you produce, but it's going to be different across different outputs, different types of deliverables. But Mike, I know you see it a lot in loads of different mediums on TikTok. But yeah, it's an interesting point from our side, and again from anyone listening. Like, would you want to know? Should you know?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think you should always be transparent with what you're doing. For me anyways, like I always, if somebody asks, I tell them the whole truth. I think that it's actually part of my plot for people to ask, because it just opens the door to be like, let me tell you about what I'm doing and why this is important to me. I think that's part of the education about it, is letting people get angry and upset about it, or try and navigate through it or figure it out. I don't like, I definitely don't hide from it. I always disclose what my AI is. And I always, like, additionally to that, it's not something that I also want to keep as AI as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my goals are to eventually turn this into human creations as well, to do replicas of them, obviously, but I don't have thousands of dollars to hire a band and pay people. But if I did, obviously I would still use the AI music, and I would still do it, because I still think that it's a really great way to be able to create for me, and to get my starting point. But I would love to be able to take that into a space where I can and that's why I use AI, so that I can focus on creating more spaces for musicians to be able to perform and to showcase their talents and their years of hard work. Because in my career, I've seen them, I've worked with them, I've watched fingers bleed, from playing guitar, and I've seen the struggles, I've seen the pain, and I still know, though, that no matter how much of that you do, if you're broke, you don't get to play. When we were doing shows, like hip hop shows, hip hop is always the hard one too, right? Like, hip hop is, because you have to rent this space and all this stuff. And most of the hip hop artists in my town were paying to play. Paying. They pay to play. We shouldn't have, that's a problem. AI isn't a problem. That's a problem. Why are artists paying to do work? Why are they paying somebody to work? That's even more crazy.
That's crazy.
I was just going to say, I think to your point, Drü, it's like, AI gives the tool to creative folks who can use it in the right way and all of that to prove almost that commerciality side of it. And I think the separation is going to become, what do you do beyond that? I feel very strongly, Drü, that with the vision of everything that you're building, what you want to do is tour and help elevate other creators and invest in this music industry as a whole. Like I captured that from our very first conversation. Like, you're using AI because we don't have the money to invest the $10,000 or more to go, like you said, and hire a band and do all of these things. AI gives us that ability to do it at a fraction of that cost. And you're building that community along the way so that when you go and you tour, you're getting all of these fans behind you that are buying your merch, that are supporting you, and then you're able to reinvest it in the right way. And I think that's just applied across the board for, when we talk about ethical use of AI. I think it's just that speed to market, that idea, that inspiration, being able to get it there faster, to see how people respond to it so that you know when to pivot. Like I imagine if you would create a song that didn't hit as hard as another one, you're able to then be like, okay, I understand what happened here. And you're able to then go and use AI to come out with another one that hits a different emotion that is being ridden by your crew at your fan base at the time, right? Like, doesn't mean that song was not good, but maybe it wasn't right at that right time. But otherwise, you'd have to get back into a studio and go and re-record it and do like all of this stuff. This just gives you speed to market to cater for those things.
I think for like investors too, right? So if you're a label or anything like that, right? It's like you get a market test at first. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you guys all have dealt with budgets. And I just know that big companies don't really like wasting money. So when you're talking about a record label or something like that, this is the smartest approach, to be honest, when it comes to business, in a sense that you can, like for instance, Trucks broke down, right? Like, you could tell right off the bat when it went off and it got over 250,000 views right off the bat. We're sitting at over 20,000, streams in the first week and a half, which is really like for a first drop for a brand new artist is pretty good. And so that's something that you can be like, okay, so if I was doing this and I had like more money, then I would go and say, hey, that's the song I'm going to go take to a studio. I'm going to hire musicians. I'm going to get the band together. I'm going to do a duplicate of that song, a live version, right? And also then that gives you a little bit more leverage as well. And like, what do you do with that? Is that something that you put in your subscriptions only? You know what I mean? To create more revenue, so that you can, and the goal of that would be, not to necessarily penny pinch all your fans, but yet to almost like, for me anyways, the way that I would use it is to create that like fund so that I could keep ticket prices down. Because I was just actually on TikTok, and I don't do a lot of scrolling, but I did. And it was like, I think it was Jelly Roll and Post Malone in like a stadium, and half the seats were like empty. Like there was like nobody in it. It was like 5 minutes to showtime. And that's something that we're seeing right now, is that like actually that concerts are not selling out and whatever. Well, no shit. It's like $800.
The prices are insane.
It's wild.
It's right. I went to the grocery store today, got two things of like 2 bags of like nothing for $250. Do you think I can afford an $800 ticket to listen to music? I got Spotify. You know what I mean? I'll go on my virtual reality and go see you. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, so the idea is, it's like, once again, musicians are like, we should be paying musicians. How are we going to even get people there? Like, if you're not using creative ways to channel to funnel money, right? How are you ever going, like, we know that live is like not where it's at anymore. It's too expensive because real estate's too expensive. The world is too expensive. So to utilize your funneling of income through digital, because we all know that digital is the way to, like, it's just cheap. It's just, it's the cheapest way to do things. It's cheap to make music. It's cheap to get to the people. Like back in the day when you had albums, right? Like you would have to travel, get in your car. Like who can afford gas? You know, like anybody? As then like, I don't think your hybrid, like your electric car is going to get you there very fast. You know, you're going to like, I don't know. So I think that that's where a lot of those things go wrong. And that's when I was looking at what I was doing and becoming an AI hybrid artist. It was a mixture between the responsibility and the ethics of the use and the opportunities that I could create from it, and the opportunities that I can create outside myself for, because being in the other thing is too, that a lot of like that I get as a perspective is, and that's why I called myself in Drü world, because I feel like I'm in my own little world, and there's two other worlds. There's like reality, the real world, and then there's this digital world, and then there's my world, you know? And my world's like, hey, how do we navigate between these two? Anyways, we should try again, and mix the two together, because I do feel like a lot of people who are on TikTok and stuff like that, when I see them, it's like, do they really have the opportunity, or do they have this space to go out into the real world? And some of my favorite some of my favorite memories and some of my favorite times are out in the real world and getting to experience that. Like I just went to where was I? Out in Washington. That freaking, where was I, Mike? Do you remember where I was?
I don't.
Where was she, Mike?
I don't remember. I remember seeing the pictures.
The Gorge Amphitheater out in Washington. Beautiful spot, you know, like, and it was just like, it was so magical to see. And it's like, I want to be able to offer my community the experience to go to the Gorge, you know, and pay $200, not 10,000, you know what I mean? To come have a good camping weekend, spend time with their family, you know, get drunk with their friends, and, you know, have a good time. Like I want to give that experience, because I've had that experience, and I'm so grateful and so blessed that I've had to. And I feel like the way the world's running right now is those opportunities for people are dwindling, and that's a problem. It's a problem for all of us.
Yeah,
awesome.
For sure.
It's a great message.
Great. Well, we're just about coming up on our hour-long cutoff point for the show, but I want to give this opportunity to Drü to talk about, since our first guest of the season, we should let you. Is there anything you want to talk about that you have upcoming that our dozens of listeners would want to?
Could you bring some of your listeners to us? Some love.
Yes, that would help
listeners.
too. But yeah, no, it would be a great opportunity. You know, we'd love to hear about anything that you're working on, or anything that you want to share about that you have upcoming.
Yeah. So I think my next song that I'm going to be releasing is called How Do I Heal? It was a song that I wrote during a pretty, like, you know, when I was questioning, like, you know, I was really sad. You know, my friend left, and I was just like, oh, you know, really sad. And I was like, how am I going to heal from this? And so that song came up, and a lot of people related with it. So that's the next one that I'm releasing.
And when's that going to be? When can we hear that?
Hopefully within the next month.
And when you release, is that on Spotify? Is it on TikTok?
All streaming platforms.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in your 50s, how do I heal has a different meaning. But I appreciate your.
Yeah.
I might relate as well.
And if you guys want, I you know, starting out, I've only been doing this for, you know, since April. It's all gone pretty quickly so far. You know, I'm very blessed.
Oh, geez.
That's quick.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been that quick?
Yeah. So
is it kind of like a whirlwind? That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
And I went from like 2,000 followers to over 10,000 followers within that time frame. And just, you know, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of, like, you know, trying to get the foundations down. Thanks to Mike, thanks to Jessica as well, my team. I just want to thank them so much for always having my back and being great supporters. I really couldn't do it without them. They're so kind to put up with all my shit. And giving me opportunities. I thank you guys for letting me do my first podcast.
Awesome. Yes. Well, we're really excited to have you here. This has been great.
It has been great, and just don't forget us. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah.
Drew.
Oh yes,
So,
please.
so when you got millions of followers, remember your first podcast. I'm just
I feel like
Plug
there's
us,
a
please. Yes.
there's a line item in a song for Can We Be Frank? There's something in that. You've got to be able to rhyme that with something.
Right. Oh, I'm gonna make you guys a new song. Aw,
Can we be frank? Yes.
it's gonna be like Patch Shop Perfect, Mike.
There we go. Love
Can
it.
I be frank? Oh, that's actually not bad. I might actually take that one. You guys want an AI song?
There we go. Let's do
Why
it.
not?
Yeah, there we go.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Anyways, I thought maybe we can end this. We got 5 minutes. I can do my best at singing you guys a song, my new song.
That'd
Trust
be
Me.
awesome.
That'd be
I love it.
amazing.
Great. Yeah, we'll do the. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bill O'Reilly meme, but we'll have Drew play us out.
Do it live.
We'll do it live. It's a thing. It's a meme. Look it up later.
Probably an
Bill O'Reilly.
American thing.
Yeah, it probably is an American thing. But I just want to thank everybody for. I want to thank. Awesome! Yeah, I want to thank everybody for listening, and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. Feel free to comment, as Robert says early, and then I'll turn it over to Drew here to play us out.
Well, guys, this is my song. Trucks broke down. The live version.
Your truck's broke down.
Headlights cut across the county line. Same old truck, but it weren't just you inside. You said you were working late again, but then red Duro told on you instead. Small towns talk when the dust kicks up and word travels faster than your pickup truck. You didn't have to see it twice to know exactly where you spent the night. Swore to me with that promise ring, said forever meant everything. Funny how it all changed. Hope your truck breaks down on that red Duro, right where you kissed it, thinking I never know. Hope the night turns cold and the stars burn bright, shining down on every one of your lies tonight. Yeah, cry all night, but they're stuck right there. No cell signal, no one who cares. You lost your girl, your future, your crown, and in case you missed it, your truck's broke down. Your truck's broke down. Bet she's laughing in your passenger seat, thinking she just stole the best of me. But she don't know the things you do when the truth starts chasing you. She don't know how you swear and swear till the truth runs out of air. But that road don't lie like you, and tonight it's telling on you too. Swore to me with that promise ring, said forever meant everything. Hope your truck breaks down on that red Duro, right where you kissed it, thinking I never know. Hope the night turns cold and the radio fades, and every mile marker calls out my name. Yeah, cry all night, but you're stuck right there. No way home, no one who cares. You lost your girl, your future, your crown, and in case you missed it, your truck's broke down. Your truck's broke down. All right.
So good.
Nice. Opening for Carrie Underwood is love it.
Can we be frank? Can we be frank? Can we be frank? Can we be frank?
Okay, if I had your voice, there would be no AI involved. Any vocal, not I would be singing what I want for breakfast.